Diego, and this is part of the downtown skyline right behind me. I took that picture. This is along Harbor Boulevard, and it's en route to the airport, which is just down the street. So today's show features Jay Sternberg. He's based in Houston, and he has authored his first book called Three Things. Three Things. And the consultancy is called Three Things Consulting. I'm going to read this. Three Things Consulting helps leaders cut through complexity and lead with clarity, care, and consistency. Note three things: clarity, care, consistency. I can see that my glasses are reflecting. Sorry about that. So Jay Sternberg was a former Big Four partner with Ernst & Young for, I think, 11 years. So now he coaches leaders at all levels to navigate real-world challenges with practical tools and honest conversations. I'm reading his LinkedIn here. His approach is simple. Leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's about showing up when it matters most. So this goes on. Executive coaching for senior leaders and rising managers, team development, clarity in communication, culture, and trust. Leadership workshops built around real-world moments and practical takeaways. Jay Sternberg gives advisory support for organizations facing transitions and growth. Sounds like hands-on, doesn't it? From a philosophical point of view, Jay writes, leadership happens in moments. We focus on three things every leader needs to deliver. Three things: clarity, care, consistency. Clarity, clear communications, and aligned expectations. We're going to ask him to decipher that. Care, coaching that strengthens trust and resilience. Personal care, taking care of the people, understanding humans, not AI. Consistency, so three C's: clarity, care, consistency. Consistency, presence and follow through that builds safety and impact. Sounds like it's a psychologically safe environment that Jay Sternberg is interested in promoting and helping leaders develop if it's not already there. Again, a psychologically safe environment. He goes on, whether guiding teams through change, strengthening culture, or mentoring individual leaders, his mission is simple: make leadership real, practical, and lasting. Once again, three things. So you can get a lot more than what I'm telling you. The website, the number three, threethingsconsulting.com. We'll be right back with Texas-based Jay Sternberg. Thank you for being on the TV show today. Okay, we're back this time with Jay Sternberg in Texas. Welcome. So you're in the what, north of Houston? Is that where you are?
Yeah, exactly. Houston is the fourth largest city. I think we're going to overtake Chicago very soon. So it's
It's
a huge
huge.
area
Yeah.
over in the north.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes for miles and miles. It's sort of like LA, it just keeps going.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I'm trying to adjust my lighting, so if I keep jumping around here, I'm sorry.
That works.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be a PR show for 20 minutes or so, maybe more. Or less if you want to end it. But Uh, so the concept is that we have a lot of viewers, and if we engage them like we're trying to do right now by being human, um, then it ties in with your three things. And that's the book that I see up behind you on the shelf.
Oh, that's right. It is. Yes.
Yeah. And the consultancy, three things consulting,
Yep.
.com, right?
It actually is, yeah. So the idea came from most of the meetings that I was in. We were trying to solve complex business problems or getting together to work through when our new clients would come in. And the focus was on three things, how do we get clarity? How do we make trust? And how do we stay consistent in our approach for delivery? And so I just took that and said, all right, let's problem solve and let's break everything down as much as we can.
Right. Okay. So now the three things are for simplicity. Care is something, right?
It
That
is.
means you create a psych safe place.
I really like that, Ed. And here's the thing that matters to me. My three things might be different than your three things. And really, it's a goal-oriented environment. What do you want to accomplish? And I approach every meeting with that focus on clarity, trust, and consistency. But the ideology behind three things is those things morph and change depending on the problem, depending on the structure, and depending on the individual audience that you're talking with.
So, as a partner for many years with EY, you were dealing with huge companies for the most part, like more than 10,000 employees, I would guess, on average.
Without question. So EY is an organization with 400,000 employees. That's astronomical. But for anybody listening and they're thinking about larger organizations, they're always made up of smaller organizations and smaller teams, right? So my team is going to be focused on, like you said, a very large clients. But generally, we're talking about HR, we're talking about tax, or we're talking about comp or payroll, and we're nailing it down to individual problems. We're not talking about how do we solve for the entire company. We have a goal and we have a strategy, and then we break that down into tactics. So, yes, we're dealing with large organizations, but the problems remain the same.
So oh, excuse me, uh, silence these note takers. Okay. Um, so we record before we get going. We record video, of course, and there's an integrated camera system that I use, which simultaneously is recording the speaker close up.
Love it.
Okay. And then simultaneously the gallery, which means you and I are side by side right now.
Got
Uh,
it.
so there's one video track that you'll get later that will show us always together, side by side. And then the second video track that you'll get is a focus on the speaker, close up, Hollywood close up.
Gotcha.
And it's very effective the way they do this. Zoom created this thing, and it's really genius. And the third thing is uh, audio, a radio audio feed of exactly what we're talking about right now, with no images, just audio for people who want to do earbuds and drive or go for a walk.
I have found more people are heading in that direction, and I like the visual. I'm a visual person, so I'm always liking to connect with individuals. But people have asked me about how the audio books and how do you listen on the go.
Yeah, it's very effective for a lot of people, but because when you're doing video and you just do video without the audio, um, you're demanding their full attention, and a lot of people are split. They're just helter skelter, or they're doing two things or three things within a short time span, and so the audio is a perfect way without having to look straight ahead. I could be doing something else.
You know, I tend to do this, and I apologize right up front. I tend to coach as I go along. I was watching Simon Sinek video, and he held up his phone and he said, "What do you think it does when you put your phone on the table in a conversation that you're having with an individual. Even if you turn it over, the individual knows that they're not as important as what might come in on the phone. And something you said just struck me. I tell my kids all the time, if you're going to do something, do it 100% because our brains are not wired to do 50-50. I know we think we can multitask, and maybe women are better than men, but the ideology behind multitasking means you're not giving 100% of your focus and
Right.
attention to that effort. I don't believe in that.
Well, I'm glad I could be helpful here. Wow. Okay, so you're dealing with basically you'll deal with anybody, but your experience for years is when very large organizations, but on a unit basis or on a core basis, and so you're dealing with a small group, not a huge group.
All the time. So I'm dealing with an HR rep, I'm dealing with a CHRO, I'm dealing with the tax VP, and we're trying to solve a problem that, again, strategically is going to help the organization move forward. But look, most individuals are looking for the best opportunity for them and to help the organization. That's the goal behind every problem we're trying to solve. How do you make something more effective, more efficient, and value added?
So let's just jump around a little bit here. How long did it take you to settle on the name Three Things?
About 3 seconds.
Because
And
that's been your life.
that's been my life. My
Yeah.
my life is breaking down problems into three specific elements. And so I kind of lend myself to that title immediately, but finding the real moments, finding the honest coaching, finding that practical leadership to fit into those boxes, that took about 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about the problem people that you're dealing with. I mean, some people their personalities suck, but maybe they don't. It's just me. Uh, so I mean, really, I'm being a coach, an executive coach. You're really up close to people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you a couple of examples. I'm working with an individual right now who is struggling with a conversation she recently had in the organization where she was promoted, but there was no raise that went along with it. So there was no additional compensation. And her first reaction was, I get more responsibility. I have more pressure on me. I have more accountability, but they're not giving me anything. The organization itself isn't showing up and saying, oh, here's more compensation. And here's the reality. There's seven other people that want her job. Maybe it's 70 people that want her job. Maybe there's 700 people that want her job. But I listen to LinkedIn posts all the time about I'm available for work, and organizations are cutting managers, they're cutting staff. And so finding that opportunity where somebody says to you, I trust you. I think you could be a better leader, and they give you more opportunity. That's something you need to consider very strongly. And here's the question that people need to ask and where I focused her attention. When am I going to get the raise? In other words, what are the opportunities for me? Because if I prove to you that I'm a great manager, if I prove to you that I can build leaders behind me, does that give me the opportunity to make more money in the future? Rather than I want more money now, you're giving me responsibility. I'm just going to come to the conversation in a different way. There's a balance there. I get it. Not every organization is going to be the right organization for individuals, but that was one of the biggest problems that we were trying to solve this week. And she's building her career. Now, I'm also working with somebody who's been a leader for a lot of years, and he's having a problem with he has superstars on his team, and they are surpassing him. And he's struggling with how do I get ahead without seeming like it's all about me from my ego perspective. I don't have an answer for that, honestly. We spent about half an hour this week just talking through it and finding ways that he can build a better team and he can take advantage of the skill sets that he has. But I also praised him. If he's building leaders that are surpassing him, good for him, right? And that should be recognized that he's a builder and he's building a better organization as it goes through. So I think the problems are across the board. Here's what I know, and this is the truth. The job market's getting tighter and the skill sets are getting tougher. And the younger generation is coming up with a stronger sense of who they are and what they want to accomplish and what they want the businesses to accomplish. That puts more pressure on individuals. It puts more pressure on organizations to deliver in that regard. I don't know if that answered your question, but
Yeah.
some things I'm
Well, so the leader should be blessed to have stars because the leader doesn't have to be more productive than the stars. That's the leader is developing talent and
100%
coaching, guiding, not doing competitive things.
right. And in this case, he had reached a level, or my personal opinion, he reached a level where it's all about how do I create better individuals, not how do I do better myself. You're already a leader. You're already doing the things you need to do, and you're already successful. Share the wealth.
Isn't it in the corporate environment, particularly in the size and scope of things that you're doing, rather than mom and pop's small business, I mean, like a million a year rather than 100 million, uh, it's a different world. Isn't it understood that, okay, so there's no immediate compensation or benefits increase to go with the increased responsibility and time and risk? But isn't it understood that that will come if I demonstrate?
Short answer, I'm not sure anymore. It was 100% absolutely. I put in the time, I put in the energy, and eventually I'm successful. In fact, if you go back years and years, it was generally an up or out policy in these large organizations, right? So you knew you'd be rewarded within a certain length of time, but you had to prove yourself over and over again. But you said something interesting, Ed, and it's something that's been gnawing at me. How different are those mom and pop organizations, that million and below? And if we can take advantage of those skill sets, I think they can be plastered across the board. I think we could make them better individuals helping their organizations by taking what the big four or IBM or Microsoft is bringing down from a management perspective. And I think we can make the big four and Microsoft and the IBMs better by taking in that mom and pop mentality. I think I told you before, my dad owned a small business. And so he was the accountant, he was the lawyer, he was the salesman, he was the marketing and PR guy. And he did everything in that organization because he understood everything about customers. Isn't that what we do in large organizations too? It's all about the customer. It's who we serve and making sure that we know what's going to be best for them. So I do think that they're interchangeable to some extent, but I understand your point. They're very different in how you deliver.
So in smaller businesses, I'm not going to say there's no politics, there probably is, but certainly in large organizations, there's who you know, and what do
Unfortunately, you're
you
right.
play golf with somebody and you don't play golf with that kid.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just the truth. I'm a firm believer in politics don't belong in business, but the reality is you have to play along at times. And it shouldn't be about the golf game. It shouldn't be about who you went with drinking last night. And it shouldn't be about who you're best friends with. It should be about how you deliver, when you deliver, and delivering with consistency.
Fascinating. Okay, so what's your next book?
So I'm working on a concept right now of taking the ideas that are presented in three things and bringing them to a 3-day workshop, and helping individuals focus on one or two of the problems within the book, and then presenting that to managers or up and coming managers and having a hands-on workshop to be able to dissect that problem and make it more customized to the organization that's looking at it. And that'll be probably in the next 6 months.
So did you have a ghostwriter or did you do all the
I did it all myself. I did it all myself. For the past couple of years, when I've been working with teams, I've been jotting down sticky notes and notebooks with Batman on the cover, and just jotting things down. So I had the framework for what I wanted. I just didn't know how to put it all together. And when I was given the time, I was able to write it. I've thought about ghostwriters, Ed. I don't know if that's authentic for me. It doesn't mean that it's not authentic for other people, and it doesn't not mean it's the wrong answer, but for me, it just didn't feel right.
So this is the notebook that I'm using on
I
you
love
said
it.
the cover, and you see the pages here. Well, you can't see here. Yeah,
Can't see him. Can't see him.
yeah, okay, yeah. So, this is great.
But
So,
I'm always, it looks like you are too. I'm always jotting things down.
yeah, I take
Love
really
quoting
good
people.
notes. I'm a, a note taker using a thick pen, not a small pen, but a thick one. Hold on to it.
Get it down. I firmly believe in writing things down that I find interesting in conversation. So if somebody says something and it may be off topic, but I write it down. I'm like, how can I use that later? I love quotes.
So, do you care if anybody buys the book?
No, I don't.
I mean, because such there's so many books out there, and there's so many people who are trained in a specialty, and then all of a sudden they're called coaches, so, which means a help, not a doer, but a helper.
I so that's it. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna backtrack on your question. Do I care if anybody buys the book? I would like for up and coming managers, up and coming individuals in the workplace to learn from the mistakes that I made. That was the point of the book. It was to show them a path that I didn't have and maybe give them a leg up so that they could figure out how to solve a problem more easily. Having said that, um, I I want people to use the ideas that are in the book. So sharing it or quoting it or looking for different ways of using it, all good with me. So longer answer than no, I don't care if anybody buys the book. The second thing you said that was really interesting to me, and I'm having a debate with myself right now between coach and mentor. And so I had a conversation with Grok this morning. I'm using Grok as my AI agent right now. I used ChatGPT for so long, and I used Google for so long, but I've switched over to Grok recently just to get a better perspective of what's out there. And so we're having this debate right now about what is a mentor and what is a coach. And the short answer, which I don't like, is coaches are paid.
So
But
I just wrote it down. Yeah, I want you. Oh, I know you can't see it. There. Okay.
a coach generally is helping you solve the problem of the day and working it through with you. A mentor is giving you some experiences that they've had that might relate to that problem. And I think that might be the difference, but I'm still working on it. And so there are a lot of coaches out there. I'm not sure there are a lot of mentors out there that have that real world practical experience that can lay down exactly how they went about a problem solve and what were the stumbling blocks that they went through.
So, is a mentor more valuable?
No, I think they have equal weight and equal measure. I just think they approach the problem maybe a little bit differently. I was thinking this morning, maybe a coach is more of a psychologist and a mentor is more of a specialist doctor.
This is a great thing. Specialist doctor. Um, but the role you're playing now is both.
The role I'm playing now is both. And I just had a conversation with another coach the other day, and I was talking with them, and we were talking about how do you meld those two experiences together to get the best opportunities for individuals? I think I'm more leaning towards using my experiences, and I need to open up to the idea of better listening and better allowing individuals to solve problems for themselves. Whereas I think maybe a coach comes in and needs to do a better job of providing some guidance around the areas that touch and feel within an organization for a specific problem.
So I had a talk show yesterday with a gentleman by the name of Ron Cooper, who's an executive coach and trainer. But we had the same discussion, and everybody's take is different. So um, once again, the concept of what you're trying to do now in this new life is to not dictate what somebody should do, but hover around somehow without being a pain and getting them to find their own way.
Yes. Yes. And sharing experiences with them that can direct them. Here's what I know. Not everybody understands what their biggest superpower is. And
Mm.
sometimes you need to point out to them what that superpower is and how to use it more effectively.
And not to be ashamed or afraid.
So many people are ashamed of their superpower because
The
it's not sale.
imposter syndrome. Is that me? I don't want to think about that, or that's somebody else, not me.
Right. Or it's too much of the soft stuff. No,
That's it.
no,
Yeah,
that's not it at all.
that's real hard.
It is, right? Because if your skill set is understanding individuals and your skill set is that HR approach to how to make somebody more successful, no matter what their grand skill set is from a calculative perspective, that's a really great opportunity for you. And using it to your advantage is hard. Using it and finding those advantages is hard. Finding those opportunities, difficult.
Okay, what's your website?
My website is threethingsconsulting.com
With the number three.
with the number three. That's exactly right. Yeah. And my
Uh,
email is easy.
yeah,
It's J at threethingsconsulting.com.
thank you for being my guest in this short news briefing about your new life.
And my pleasure. I think what you're doing is amazing. Connecting individuals is so important. Here's one thing I will leave everybody with. If you have an opportunity to meet somebody new and sit down and just understand what they're doing, it'll be a benefit to you.
A benefit to me.
It'll be a benefit to the person who reaches out and says,
Yeah.
what do you do for a living? How can I help you or how can you help me?
And that's the new definition of networking
I think so.
rather than taking.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to be able to offer something to the relationship. And sometimes it will come back to you in threefold, and sometimes you won't see it for years, but it always comes back.
So, so do you think this little meeting we've just had fits the Jeff Bezos mantra?
I love that. Yeah, I think it does. You hit a topic, you nail it, you get onto a solution, and you
And,
close it out.
that's it. Thank you.
Ed, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the day. How's the weather out there?
It's Santa Ana winds. Uh, we're right here in the ocean, so it's calm. But further east in the mountains, the winds are stronger, and it's going to be a very warm day today. That means the winds are from the desert rather than from the ocean. When they're from the ocean, it's moist, fog,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. But when they're dry, uh, there's no clouds, blue skies, hot sun, and right now it's like November weather, but in 3 or 4 hours it's going to be June and July weather, and then by 3 o'clock when the sun starts to get weak, uh, then the temperature is going to drop like 10, 15 degrees an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
sunset, which is around 5 now here in California. Um, it'll be chilly.
Yeah, it's cold here in Houston. We're in the 50s. And for us, we're not prepared for that.
Yeah. So here at Seaport Village, it will be high temperature in the sun, 75.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
with just a slight wind. And by 5 o'clock tonight, the temperature will be like 58.
Still not terrible. Still not
No,
terrible.
not bad, but that's a drop. Hey.
That's a drop, yeah. And if you're
Yeah,
used to 75, 50s can feel cold.
yeah.
We're used to
That,
80s.
yeah. Thank you.
And
Be
always pleasure.
back to you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye. Thank you.